This is Barnsdale Tunnel, 1,226 yards of Hull Barnsley Railway's second longest tunnel. Hello and welcome to ALW Research Team here on YouTube. Today we're at the Barnsdale Tunnel on the former Hull and Barnsley Railway. Just down in the cutting, we've got the A1 behind us. Hull is behind us. In front of us, down the track bed, is Stairfoot. But before we get to Stairfoot, just coming into view now is the Barnsdale Tunnel. This section was effectively cut off when the A1 was widened into a dual carriageway. The viaduct which carried the road was blown up and the cutting behind us filled in. We walked down this infill to gain access to this area. It'll be very similar to the Weedley, Sugarloaf and Drewton's tunnels that we've been to. This is the Barnsdale Tunnel of the 66-mile Hull and Barnsley Railway. And this is the eastern portal. Keep watching as we access this tunnel from the western portal. As we can see, it's brick lined throughout, unlike the previous tunnels we've seen, such as Drewton's, where part of it was chalk, brick arched, recess there in the chalk lining. So viewers, that way is to Stairfoot, and that is the western portal. This way is towards Kirksmeaton. So we're going to continue through the tunnel now. It's very large, this tunnel. It feels grand and Victorian, whereas the Drewton, Sugarloaf and Weedley tunnels felt welcoming. This doesn't feel welcoming for some reason. The atmosphere doesn't feel welcoming. We've got one of the first recesses here, completely brick lined. 2.5 bricks wide, as we've seen in the past. The brick structure is in very good condition. Now, the vents along this tunnel have been capped off, according to the research I've done before we've come here. So we'll see the recesses. There's the second recess right there, and then we're going to see later on the vents above. We'll see up the vents, but the top will be capped over.
So this tunnel differs slightly from the others because the sides are straight, they continue to curve all the way down to the ground.
We can see here some repairs. Can you see these, viewers? Where the brick face has popped and it's gone away, and we can see the soot lining on top. Here there isn't any soot at all on these bricks, so these may have been fitted after the tunnel had closed. There isn't any degradation. That is a completely clean brick. Can you see that? The mortar looks quite modern as well, and then it moves on to the older bricks that are completely laden with soot. This leads me to believe that this could have been done after the railway had closed, or certainly towards the very end of this tunnel's life. I've got another recess here. Got the triple layer brick of the recess. You can see some of the bricks have fallen away. Oh, very soft actually. They're really brittle.
It's quite dry in here actually, but it is well ventilated. There's quite a strong breeze coming through, which of course will help keep it dry. Quite a lot of soot deposits on the roof.
So, I've got further repaired areas here, and we can see where someone's had a bit of a party. Can someone tell me what these are all about? These little canister things, I see these quite a lot. So there's cans of beer and these. What's it all about, viewers? Please leave a comment, because I'm too naive to know what that's all about. As we move on now, I can see above the soot is very thick.
It looks nice and clean there. It's been repaired at some time. You can see the patch that they've put in, and again at this side. So the original brickwork must have degraded over time.
We can see some large pieces of sandstone here, and then above it pieces of ballast that have been left behind from when the track was lifted in around 1960. See some very old bricks here. These are similar to the design of bricks we saw in the previous tunnels of Weedley, Sugarloaf and Drewton's tunnel. Link in the description box for those episodes. We've got a large lump of sandstone here, possibly for a signalling follower or a mile marker post. Got the degradation of the bricks there and the moisture that's coming through them, washing the face of the brick off. Keep thinking I can see a tunnel vent, but I can't. Just turn the light up, at the light on maximum. So we're at marker 6 now, and we've got some sodium coming through the brickwork there, and more repair work carried out, very recent repair work, possibly from as soon as these to me look like 1960s type bricks. They don't look old enough to be from the railway era, which is these. These look a lot newer. So there's been a lot of repair work done in this tunnel. So we're now 100 yards in from the west portal, which is just up there. So it's a 100 yards marker. Got a lot of bricks there from a possible earlier collapse that's now been repaired. They've simply repaired it above it, because above on the tunnel roof is intact. You can see here where someone of lower life form intelligence has bashed a hole through the wall for some reason. I don't know why you'd do that, because these aren't like a tunnel that go off somewhere else. It's just a recess for P-way staff to jump in there, track lane staff or railway workers to escape a train as it comes into the tunnel.
Another marker, number 8. This refuse has been patched up, but this brickwork that's patched it up looks a lot newer than the other patched up brickwork. You can see there where the bricks have crumbled away and we're into the rock behind it. It's like sandstone.
A large deposit of soot up on the tunnel roof there. So it's there. Carrying on, I haven't seen the first tunnel vent yet, and we're over 100 yards in. More soot deposits here on the wall. They're quite thick soot deposits there, so you can see how smoky this tunnel has got when the steam locomotives have been coming through burning coal, going towards Stairfoot this side and going towards Kirksmeaton that side. We're another 50 yards in now, viewers. We're now at marker 150 yards from the west portal.
Yeah, like a little grotto. Just look back. That's where we've come from, and marker number 16, whatever that is. Don't know. If somebody knows, leave a comment down below. Marker number 18 is actually within the recess.
Let's look at those, viewers. how smoky must it have been in here for soot to form like that? I mean, that's you know, it's one knuckle in on my finger, so it's about an inch deep, the soot. What a more modern survey marker 11 there. Got recess there marked at number 11 as we continue on. Again there, someone's bashed a hole through the recess to access the rock feature behind it, and they've used this, just a bit of metal. That, in fact, is a bolt. That is a bolt that holds a chair, so a railway chair, to a sleeper. That's what that is. That's been left behind from the railway era. 200 yards in. Got some repairs to this recess here, and strangely again, the recess, the back of the recess has been knocked out. I'm wondering, has this been done intentionally to let the water pressure out from behind if the water builds up? Because we saw at a tunnel on the Little Wheaton to Driffield line, I went a while back and filmed it, and it had collapsed because water had built up on the outside of the brick arch, filled it completely, then the hydraulic pressure had forced the tunnel itself to collapse, and the chalk lining around it had remained intact. Very strange to see it do that. And I'll put a link above and in the description box for that video of that tunnel explore.
This pile of rubble now it's mainly gravel and soot, and it looks like it's the remnants of what's left when they've scraped up the sleepers. Remnants. It's only very small ballast is this though, it's not like normal railway ballast, very fine.
Marker number 16 now, and our next recess. Can we see a tunnel vent? Yes, I can. There's a tunnel vent coming up in front of us. We're at the 250 yard marker now. And now we can see the first tunnel vent coming up. Right there, viewers. Whoa, this is deep. And there's actually a hole in the capping. I can see light coming through. Can you see that, viewers? So this tunnel vent is completely brick lined and it's been capped over. It looks like railway line going across, and then it's just steel sheeting above. But that is the tunnel vent of the Barnsdale Tunnel, the first one on the east portal. Correction, the first tunnel vent from the west portal at about 250 yards in. And this is Department for Transport, Hull Barnsley 3, and this is tunnel or structure 132. And that is the marker post, or the identification of this tunnel right there. Now, this sandstone we can see here in the bricks, this is the vent from above when they've knocked the vent down. So they've smashed the vent up that was above in the field and just simply knocked it down. This knocked it down, the tunnel vent. So all of that material there has come down this huge hole here. It's all come tumbling down. There we are. That's the first tunnel vent. So we'll continue on now. You can see Dave above. Oh, Dave's not above. Dave in front of me there. And we'll continue on towards him.
Now then, here's the thing. I've never noticed before, but I've noticed on this one, the bottom of the refuge is actually the corners are curved. I've never seen that before, unless they are and the ballast is higher than that curve. But yeah, that's not something I've ever seen before. Let's stand back, see if we can get it all in. So you see the top's curved like normal, but the bottom in the corners, it's curved. It's a reverse arch. Not as steep as the top one, but nevertheless an arch.
When the tunnel vent's been knocked down, it's been pushed to the sides, and it does look like the people have driven cars down here after the railway is shut, because all the debris is pushed to one side, and I keep seeing like remnants of old tyre tracks. So I think cars have been down here at some point. I'm going to carry on towards Dave now. We're at 300 yards in from the west portal, which is there. So we're 300 yards into this 1,226 yards tunnel. You can see already that the tunnel roof is thick with soot again, and we're only 50 yards away from the last tunnel vent. So the thickness of the smoke's been very dense when the steam locomotives have travelled down this tunnel. We can see again there, the recess has had a hole knocked through it there, and we've got another bolt that's held the railway line chair into the sleeper of this old railway.
And yes, this one is the same. The bottom is curved. How's about that? And the thing I'm noticing with this one is the back of it is not flat. That is also on a curve. It curves around that way. So I don't know if you're picking that up on camera, but the back wall isn't flat. You can see by the bricks there, it's stepped. There's them bricks to facilitate the curve. But if we look at the bottom, I don't know if you can make it out more, but it's actually curved as the back of that refuge.
Moving on, we can see the width of this tunnel. It doesn't feel as wide as Sherwood Rise Tunnel. That felt really big. That's, for whatever reason, that tunnel was wider than any of the Hull Barnsley Railway tunnels that I've been in. I'll leave a link in the description box or in the card above for that video. I went there with Aunt Dakin and the photographer Paul. That was on the Great Central Railway. So we're 350 yards in now. Got another recess there, and again, there's been a hole knocked through the back of the recess with a little brick arch at the bottom just supporting the vertical piece of this arch. Do you know why they would have done that? If you do, please leave a comment as to why, because I've never seen that in a railway tunnel before. That is a feature of this Barnsdale Tunnel alone, because the Drewton, Weedley and Sugarloaf tunnels didn't have that feature. And then we've got the old brickwork here. This is actually blackened from the soot. If I rub my finger on there, that'll just be black. I made that mistake in the Mapley tunnel with Aunt Dakin. I rubbed my hand on the wall, and then that was my gloves done for, because the soot just doesn't come out. And we can see the thick soot deposits there. As we carry on down this tunnel, looking for the next tunnel vent.
More evidence of limestone build-up. This one's been leaking quite a lot. You can see it's built up quite a deposit on the front of it. And there, look, there's a blue pipe coming out of the wall. I wonder if they've drilled that in later to try and relieve the water seeping through the bricks, give it a route to go. Because here, there's another one above the refuge and another. And if we look up there, I don't know if you can make that out, but there's some right up there as well. And in fact they're all over this part of the wall. Little blue pipe, alkathene pipe stuck out of the wall. There's lots of them just here. But this area is particularly wet. As I said, the build-up of calcium deposits is pretty heavy on this wall.
So we're now 400 yards in, and we've got the next recess there, also with a hole knocked through the centre. And then we've got a 400 yard marker there, and it's been whited over by sodium coming through the wall. I've got a lot of water coming down above me, dripping through the bricks. We can see now the tunnel structure, apart from the left hand side, is sooted up, totally blackened. Now I've got the next recess there with the key feature of this tunnel, the archway at the bottom, and then the hole knocked through. I've never seen that in any tunnel before, the hole knocked through the back of the recess. We've got an old survey marker there of 29, and then over here the new one of 28. You can feel the ballast below me now. We can't see anywhere though the remains of the sleepers, so it looks like this has been sort of re-engineered, re-flattened. Another recess there with a hole and the little arch at the bottom, looking back at the west portal, and then looking across at the east portal. We're almost halfway, and that way is towards Kirksmeaton. Just looking out on the, I'm looking at the tunnel roof now for the next tunnel vent. It should be along here somewhere, if my maths is correct. Oh, look at that, viewers. Wow, the colours that are coming through, the salts of the water that are draining through the bricks as the water runs down from the field above. Just look at that, that's magnificent. The natural colours of decay right there, viewers. So we've got a lot of unused bricks here. These look like a pile of bricks that have been brought in to carry out a repair, and they haven't been used, they're just laid here as spares. We've got one of the old Hull Barnsley original bricks there, and a more modern brick from the 1960s. An extra recess there, the next one along, survey point 36. Now we can see the thick soot there along that wall reduces rapidly, which leads me to believe, yes we are, we're at the next tunnel vent, viewers. There we are. Caps off again, but you can still see a bit of light shining through. Can you see that? I'll just turn this light off, the camera light. Can you see the light shining through, viewers? There we are, look. So that is the next brick-lined tunnel vent in this Hull Barnsley Barnsdale Tunnel. And we've got another survey marker here. Department for Transport, Hull Barnsley, number 3. This is structure 132, shaft 2. And we've got a distance marker there of 550 yards. I can make out that says. There's all twigs and things that have fallen through. See if we can find the old tunnel top. Here's some of the sandstone and some of the bricks. Again, it's all been pushed to the sides, as if they've cleared the way so they can drive vehicles down here to survey this tunnel. And that is an almost completely intact Hull Barnsley Railway brick there. Those bricks were custom made for this railway. Survey marker 37 there. The next recess, but this doesn't have the hole bash through it, but it does have the little feature of the arch at the bottom. So we've got some more of the yellow in there. This one's primarily in the region of the recess, giving those wonderful yellow and white reflections of the sodium coming through the wall. Right there, can you see that, viewers? So moving on then. Got wipes on the floor, so this indicates people have been down here recently.
I don't know if you can tell from the size of the light at the far end, but we are nearing the tunnel now. We're probably halfway, I would think, and the fact that that air vent was there, I would guess that that's probably about halfway.
Looking at the features of this tunnel, the water pouring through there, can you see that, viewers? You see it running down the walls from the rain above. The weather is quite bad outside today, it has been overnight. Next recess there, we've got a large lump of sandstone here, which could have been the remains of a signalling wire holder or a mile marker that used to be present in tunnels like this.
I'm not seeing much remnants of railway infrastructure. There's no sleepers, no shoes, no anything really on the ground. Looks as though it's all been taken away.
Got a lot of soot on the roof above. A lot of soot there. And we've got the next recess there, and it's got a modern survey marker inside it. And we're at the 650 yard point from the west portal. So we're now about halfway along the 1,226 yards of this superb condition tunnel. To think this passenger services ended in 1934 along this route because the North Eastern Railway took all the passenger traffic over to the Hull and Selby Railway, leaving this just as freight. But there was enough freight on this railway to keep it profitable right until closure in 1959 under the Reshaping of Britain's Railways Act that Dr. Richard Beechin brought into force, which closed this railway. Some soot deposits there. As we move along towards the East Portal, we should rendezvous with Exploring Dave.
So this one's been patched up quite a bit. Like I said, these bricks are fairly modern compared to some of the others what have been patched. But you can just see the how the brick has crumbled and fallen out.
The soot's getting thicker again, as I believe we'll be moving towards the third and final tunnel vent along this journey. The holes in the recesses seem to have stopped now, but we've still got the little archway at the bottom there. So please get in touch if you know what they're all about. Got a big lump of bricks here that have come from, not here, they've been moved along. They're possibly part of the next tunnel vent that's been knocked down, because you can see it's in sort of an arch. That even looks like the top of a tunnel vent, doesn't it? There, look. That's the top. So that's been the top of the tunnel vent, and then it's got the feathering bricks, and then the style of the Hull and Barnsley that we've seen along this series. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, because it really helps me out when you do that. It's totally free, and if you click the bell, you'll get a notification of every Thursday at 4 PM UK time when I release a new video. I also occasionally release videos on a Sunday. They're usually sort of different videos from different areas of the world where I've been filming, such as Germany, or I went down to Wales to see Kurt Roberts. They're not part of this series, they're just different videos, because I don't do just railways. I do military and industrial research as well. As we're looking back at the top of what I believe is the third tunnel vent top down here. You see there where the sodium's actually going behind the soot and peeling the soot off the wall as the sodium takes over and the soot's no longer deposited. As the steam train stopped running here in 1959. So we're now 750 yards into the tunnel.
See, here's another one where the back has been knocked out of it. And see the rock work behind it. But there again, you see, they're all curved. And I've not noticed that on any refuge before. The back of them is curved. And the bottoms are curved. Everything's curved, apart from the sides. The top's curved, the bottom's curved, the back's curved, the sides are straight.
Just up ahead, viewers, I think I can see the third tunnel shaft. Third vent above. Just before we get to that, I just want to point out this piece of wood is affixed to the side of the tunnel wall. We saw one of these, and it is very old. Look at the screws that are holding that in. They're like big old. They're like 6-inch nails that have been braided in, because the head of the nail is as big as my finger end. So that is big, and that is old hardwood. That has been affixed to the tunnel wall for a very long time. You can make out a notice that used to be affixed to it. It's now all just rotted away down there. We've got a lot of debris here as we get towards the third and final tunnel vent, which is just there. And I feel like I can see sunlight coming through it. No, it's just the light from the end of the tunnel. Literally, it is the light at the end of the tunnel that's throwing me off there. We've got another recess there, as we see more carved brickwork. There's part of an old railway sleeper there, heavily rotten, but it is there all the same. A lot of brickwork now, as we're getting towards this. They're quite daunting to look at, these tunnel shafts that have been capped off. There's such a lot of mass above, and it's all just suspended with Victorian engineering from back in 1885. Right there, viewers. So that is the third shaft. So that's Hull and Barnsley 3, structure 132, and it's shaft number 3. Survey marker 55 there of the modern marker points that have been put in. Then we've got another DFT, so Department for Transport, Hull and Barnsley 3, structure 132, shaft 3, which is that tunnel vent shaft right there. It's been capped off. we've got the next recess here and a big soot deposit above it. As we move towards Exploring Dave, which is he's waiting at the end down here. Now, we've got a lot of water coming through here. Someone's named it Sharon's Spring. I don't know who Sharon is, but that is her spring right there, and there's a lot of water coming from it. So all that hydraulic pressure, that would build up on the other side of the brick arch, and it would cause problems in the future. It really would. And I've just realised that this is actually sealant that someone's pumped into the mortar to stop the mortar being washed out and the bricks falling out. That's what that is. It looked rather strange before, and they've put that all around what somebody's called Sharon's Spring right there. So we're continuing now towards the east portal and Exploring Dave.
More repair work, new bricks. Marker number 63.
Now this way goes back towards Hull. The next station stop this way is Ep18. Now we're back to the tunnel recesses, been knocked through, leaving a gap to presumably let hydraulic pressure through, so the water building up, and then the water's run down the wall here. And we've got one of the old Hull Barnsley bricks right there. Just a quick look back towards the west portal there. Moving onwards towards the end of the tunnel, towards the east portal, and what is now near the A1 motorway. So if you ever come down the A1 and you pass a Shell service station going north, and then there's a Shell service station on the going south, just near that Shell service station is the east portal of Barnsdale Tunnel. If you want to have a look on Google Maps and just zoom in on it, you can actually make it out. So we're at 900 yards. The bricks are starting to look rather clean now because the soot has been blown away by the tunnel vent and the tunnel portal there. As we move up towards another recess that's been repaired. These repairs look very recent indeed. And then the old bricks have been cast aside with the hydraulic relief hole there, and the modern bricks supporting this recess. You can see there where repair work is needed. The bricks are really damaged here. As we see some life in the tunnel, this little mushroom. You see that, viewers? Little mushroom growing in the tunnel in the darkness. So we'll leave that. I'll leave that alone so I don't damage it. So it's really worked hard to live down here in the dark.
Here we are, getting nearer and nearer to the end. It's looking like that the cutting has been filled in. It's a metal fence barrier with security spikes on the top. But behind that, immediately behind that, looks like it's a big banking as though it's been filled in.
We can see the thickness above where the steam locomotives have had some power on coming in, and the soot stuck to the ceiling of this tunnel. Got another repaired recess there as we head towards Exploring Dave. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out when you do that. And if you want to go a step further than subscribing, you can press that join button. The join button costs 99p a month, and with that you get extra content. When I get enough people on it, on the community page of the members section, I'll start doing members section lives where you can ask me questions. You can put a question in the comment box and I'll answer it live on a live stream. So anything you want to know about the Hull Barnsley Railway, this series, or anything else apart on the channel, just leave a comment and I will answer it. So we're now 1,000 yards from the west portal of this Barnsdale Tunnel. So that means there's 226 yards towards Exploring Dave and the end of this tunnel going towards Kirksmeaton. Got another repaired recess there. Oh, and also on the join button, if you click that join button and join for that 99p a month, in the future I will do discounted merchandise for you. I'll leave a code somewhere so you can get the code and get a discount on t-shirts, hoodies, mugs and air fresheners that we're going to be doing in the future. As I pass a repaired part there. Another knocked hole through the recess. Yeah, but if you don't want to join, doesn't matter, just click that subscribe button because that helps as well. And yeah, that's, you know, what you could do for me, so I'd appreciate that. As we move along this explore of the Barnsdale Tunnel, soot deposits on the wall there, and we're getting towards the old look of the bricks where the fresh air has kept the soot off parts of the tunnel structure. And you can hear out there, I don't know if you can hear that, that's the noise of the A1.
And this is the only part of the tunnel now where we're starting to see a little bit of water ingress.
Because the A1 is only 30 or 40 metres that way. Or for Mick Nicholson corrected me on this, railways were built in Imperial and everything is done in Imperial. All the drawings are Imperial, maps, sketches, everything is Imperial. So for this series I'm going to just use Imperial only at the request of my friend Mick Nicholson. So I hope he's watching. So about 300 yards from the end of the tunnel is the A1 motorway. And that is the noise that you can hear. So we've got the last recess on this side going towards the east portal. We've got Exploring Dave there, and the life that has grown in the dampness of the eastern portal. Got various weeds. We saw some things like this at the Drutons Tunnel, where there's a little bit of light and a little bit of moisture and the shelter from the portal, and it lets unusual weeds grow here. There we are. We've got what looks like a railwayman's test and inspection check sheet there, just in the puddle. I can see test and run something, check this, check that, all down there on that card. You see that, viewers? That's been dropped and left behind by one of the maintenance men that are clearly coming and maintaining this tunnel structure here at Barnsdale. So thank you ever so much for watching this ALW research team Hull Barnsley Barnsdale Tunnel video. I'm Andy.
And I'm Dave.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Looking all over my shoulder, looking back at your door. In my head it goes over and over. Should I leave or want it more? Look